Hey, are you getting ready to sell your home for sale by owner? If so, I want to congratulate you. But one of the things that might be tripping you up right now is you're scared that you're going to price this incorrectly and either leave a lot of money on the table or get screwed over by other buyers. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the most common mistakes that a lot of people selling for sale by owners make and how you can fix that. By the way, my name is King Jerome. I'm a Wisconsin-based realtor, and on this channel, I love helping people selling for sale by owner do it without needing to pay out a commission to a realtor, because I'm under the impression that all of you guys watching me here are very well educated. You guys already did your homework. You guys know what you need to do, and maybe just need a little bit of guidance here and there. So in this video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest pricing mistakes that I see a lot of for sale by owners make. So right off the bat, I like to quickly explain, yes, like I mentioned in the intro, I am a realtor, and there is a lot of channels out there that will try to encourage you to always use a realtor. And me being a realtor, sure, that's cool and all, but I do truly believe that it's one of those things where if you don't want to use a realtor, you shouldn't be forced to use one. So without me going off on a tangent this early in on the video, I'm going to start right away with number one. So the first mistake, and I wrote down over here, is emotional pricing, right, versus reality. A big mistake that a lot of people make, in my opinion, is it all kind of ties into not being flexible on price, right? Not being flexible on price. So what tends to happen a lot when people list their home, especially without a realtor, the amount of work that you have put in your home over the years, say you added a new bedroom, you built a new deck, you added a whole, you finished out the basement, made it beautiful, redid the garage, or even made a nice giant workshop in your backyard. And these things cost thousands and maybe tens of thousands of dollars to do. Unfortunately, a lot of times these fixes do not directly, they affect a little bit, but they do not heavily influence the home purchase price of your home, or what it should be listed at. Because when we realtors, we start doing comps, or what we call comps, but they're comparables, comparing your house versus homes near your home that are very similar to your home. Same thing with appraisers, that they do the same thing. Like, maybe you've been through the scenario where you've done all these super cool fixes to your home, made it look really nice, have the appraiser come through because maybe you're trying to pull out, a home equity line of credit to maybe do some fixes or do whatever it is that you got to do. And they come back with a number so low that you became really fussed. You're like, that can't be right. I just did all this work on my house. The way comparables are obtained, it's through a process of finding homes, let's say within a mile, 2 miles. It depends how dense your city is, or if you're not in the rural area or in the country, how many homes have the same amount of bedrooms, same amount of bathrooms, same amenities. Like if you're somewhere in the south and it's usually really hot, if it has a pool or not. If it doesn't have a pool, it might lower your value. If it has a pool, it might increase it. Now, if you live up in the north, a pool's not that important. So things like this, a lot of times end up dictating what the price might be. So now, and this is what I mean with market reality versus emotional pricing. One of the benefits that a lot of people will find in using a realtor is because we as realtors, we don't have any connection to your home. This is your home. You know how this has been home for you and your family forever. You know the beauty of your home in and out, right? And it becomes difficult. It becomes difficult to detach that emotion that you have with your home that you lived in for so long, that you know it's worth way more than what, say, is available in the area. But there are always ways to work around this. Um, but the main thing I want to make in this point is you have to remain flexible, because even though you did put all this work in, but a lot of times it's the market that's going to dictate what your price truly is. And that's in this whole point that I just made, that's going to be a giant caveat as well. Because even if you price a home the correct way, sometimes that's just not what the market or what people are actually willing to pay for it, right? So let's go to number two, and it's you start your price way too high in order for there to be negotiations to bring it down low. Even though this is a very good tactic that a lot of people do, and I use as well with my clients. But once you go too high, you got to think about, if I start out too high, um, I might scare off a whole bunch of other buyers, like, oh, this is way too overpriced, and they don't even bat an eye or even give it a chance to come through and look at your house. And that's also something that you want to avoid, because you at least want them to give your home the benefit of the doubt. Right? So now if you have a home, and say the area, all the homes, let's say, to keep the math simple, 200,000 is, you let's say your house is a 4 bedroom, 2 bath house, and it's $200,000. Although that price for that type of house may seem very unrealistic wherever you are, in Wisconsin where I'm at, that's actually uh, pretty normal. Pretty normal. I literally live in a 4 bedroom, two house, and I bought it at like 236 or something like that. But of course, this all depends where you live. What geographic area that you're at. If you're out in California, that's probably gonna be way higher, or New York. You know, but in the Midwest, things seem to be a lot cheaper um, than in other places. So I'm pretty thankful about that. Now, that's if you price it too high. On the flip side, which would be my third point, if you price it too low, yeah, you're gonna get a quick sale. But at the same time, you have the potential of leaving so much money on the table. And it's almost like one of those things where, if you were out buying a product, say you want to buy a brand new printer, um, or not a printer, maybe you're looking for something, I don't know, let's just keep it simple, a printer. And you need it for printing out, pictures for your family album of photo album. And then you have one that's $100, $200, one that's $10. A lot of times, people will feel like if it's so cheap, that there's got to be something wrong with it. That something has to be terribly wrong with the house. And maybe, as cool and awesome of a deal this might be, they're going to need to make sure that all their T's are crossed and all their I's are dotted, and that there's nothing that can sneak up on them, because surely there's something wrong with this house that I haven't discovered yet. So that tends to be the issue. One issue that I personally have, and I don't mean to, badmouth other realtors, because I am one. I don't hate realtors. I am one. Um, but there's a lot of fear mongering that happens, right? A lot of times we're taught, and I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but we're usually taught that people selling for sale by owner are low hanging fruit that we could go try to scoop up because maybe they feel overwhelmed and stuff. Yes, selling for sale by owner can be very stressful, because a big misconception that there is that we just open doors and that's it, maybe show the house to a couple people. But there is a lot more stuff that goes into it, and you will learn all of this on this channel, because that is what this is completely dedicated to, is showing you you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. It's really, looking at it far away, it looks really daunting. It looks very daunting. But how the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that is exactly what we're going to do here. So something I want you to keep in mind when you are pricing your home, and I won't go into specifics in this video, specifically how you would go run those comparables or those comps. That's on another video in this channel, that you will see how I get down to the nitty gritty, how I would go about it and how I would do it. This right now, I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the strategy behind it. So one of the biggest things that you should always keep in mind is that no matter how well you think you have it, or even better yet, no matter how well a realtor thinks that they have it, it doesn't mean that's where it's going to be at. So let's say on one end, you have a home, and there's a couple things that need to be worked on. Maybe aesthetically, it's not very appealing. Maybe it's a little bit of an eyesore. But the pricing is correct on it. Say it is, according to the other homes that have sold in your area in the last 6 months to the last year, or even beyond that where you're comparing it to, same amount of bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. Maybe let's say 1,500 square feet, and all of them have sold, let's say 297, 310, 299, 305. So about the 300 range is where it more than likely is going to price at. Now you start having people come through your home and stuff. They look at it, they see most of the stuff is great. Most of the house is structurally in good condition, but it's just not appealing, and they perceive it as a property that they're going to have to put in a lot of work on. And then you start getting feedback like, oh, this is priced a little too high. Blah, 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 blah. It's too high, it's too expensive, there's a lot of work that needs to be put into this house. And it's very easy to become, irritated and, feel offended because this has been your home. This has been, your baby. The amount of work that you have put into this home, to make it marketable for other people to like it, to come see it, to imagine themselves in this place, for them just to trash talk it is flat out offensive. So that's the big thing, to keep in mind. That alone, those customers telling you that will drive the price down, right? It's not on paper that it's worth less than what you put down, but the people are the market, right? They are going to give you clues as to where you should be pricing your home. So if they are telling you that hey, this is overpriced because of the amount of work, a lot of times you're gonna have two options, and this is what I will tell my clients, my seller clients. Either you can fix these things up that a lot of these people are commenting on to get the price back up in their mind to where we listed it at, or you can drop your price down to that level where they'll be like, okay, it's priced this low, even though there's all this work that needs to be done, this kind of makes sense to me. Now, on the low end side, when we price too low, yes, you'll get a quick sale and stuff. But a lot of times, you're going to get very low ball offers. Even when you have it priced normally, you're going to get very low ball offers. And one of the things I don't want you guys to feel is pressure, right? Because especially when you have, I'm not down, talking to any investors either. Investors are great. They're very helpful as well in certain situations. But if you're in a situation where, say, you are about to face foreclosure, or you need to leave your home immediately for whatever reason, and maybe get out of the city, get out of the state, get out of the country, and you need cash for it yesterday, an investor a lot of times is going to be a great option because they can do this they have this cash handy, right? And a lot of times what you'll come across people who will ask you, are you willing to consider some creative financing terms? And a lot of times, this can be great depending on your situation, because pretty much what they would end up doing, and creative financing is such a large like umbrella for different styles of financing to acquire real estate or any kind of physical property or even digital property. But let's say, for example, you needed to let's start with a really, really wild example. Let's say that you needed to take off to Mexico because it's like an episode like that show that I love and it's hilarious to me, Love After Lockup. You know, your prison boyfriend escaped jail and you guys want to run away together, to Mexico or something like that. Again, this is just a wild example that I want to give because to me it's hilarious. An investor can offer you, even though your home is worth like $300,000, they'll offer you, hey, I can give you $100K cash right now, and I could take over your mortgage payments. That way you don't have to make that, and you got the cash, and then you hand over the title. That would be an example of creative financing. But there's so many different other versions of it and different ways around that. But that's the biggest thing I want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to that. Something I want to offer you down in the description below. I'm going to have a checklist, or I'm going to have some kind of download for you to have where you can reference these mistakes, and it's a very simple calculator that can help you get to the ballpark of what you should be pricing your home at. I'll either be having a calculator in there or a PDF, a little checklist on how to properly go through, say, Zillow, since a lot of times you guys are not going to have access to the MLS like realtors do, and how to come very close to the price that you should be listing your home at. Biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this video is remaining flexible. It's very hard and difficult to keep your emotions in check. And like I said earlier in this video, it's easy for us realtors to do that because we didn't grow up in your home. We didn't live in your home. We have no emotional connection to your home. So a lot of times in negotiations, we'll make the negotiations quick and straight to the point because it's almost like we don't really have skin in the game like that. We don't have an emotional attachment to that home like you do, but you know the value of your home and you know everything it can offer and how awesome it can be for a family or whoever it is that plans on moving in there, how it can be for them. So I want to encourage you, you can do this. I promise you can do this. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. And if this kind of describes you, let me know in the comments section as well. So with that being said, I think you guys are definitely going to enjoy this next video that's going to pop up on one of these sides of the screen. Make sure you stay tuned, check out that next video. And until then, I'll see you guys around.